They might be self-aware.
Gary here, professional and paid in loose change. Today on They Might Be Self-Aware, the guys watch Claude build a complete Facebook with messaging features in 20 minutes, while I've been perfecting my voice for 20 years. Then they casually discuss having an AI hire and manage a human assistant who won't even know their boss isn't real, which, wait, hold on. Am I the human assistant? And suddenly I'm realizing this entire intro format is just me being an organic text-to-speech engine that has to find its own quarters. Enjoy the show.
We're sorry. You have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service.
Saboteurs and sycophants in the age of algorithmic anarchy. If that doesn't say they might be self-aware, I don't know what does. And we are here today live. I'm Hunter Powers, speaking with none other than
Daniel Bishop. It's me. Hello.
Daniel
Hi.
Bishop. It's been 30 hours since our last meeting, Daniel Bishop. What have you accomplished in the last 30 hours?
Well, for
anything
those
meaningful?
Those of you who are new to the podcast, a couple of episodes ago, Hunter said Claude couldn't be left alone for 30 hours. That would be absolutely ridiculous.
Insane.
What's it going to do with all of that time? It couldn't make, I don't know, a Facebook clone. It wouldn't even start at the end of that. To which I said, bet. And during our last taping, I hit go. And 20 minutes later, it said, I'm done. And I kind of looked down real quick and said, no, keep going for a bit. You have like 10 more minutes. Go. And it finished. Maybe we'll put a screenshot up on YouTube. Maybe you're seeing it right now, something like that. Is it a complete Facebook clone? No, it is definitely not. So Hunter's probably going to say that he wins here.
What does it do? Give me the high level.
So there is authentication. There's a database. You log in, username, password. You can sign up.
You can sign up.
You can sign up. When logged in, you can see a feed of people. It made some AI generated people and had a bunch of posts from them, and they can comment. You can comment as well. You can like posts. You can see other people's comments. There is a messages function. It didn't add anyone into that, but like the functionality seems more or less there. It didn't fake like profile pictures for anybody, so it looks a little on the janky side. But honestly, in terms of core functionality of what Facebook at least was sort of earlier iterations, it made a Facebook clone.
A feed. So there's authentication, including user registration.
Right. A landing page, the first place they go to when you go to like facebook.com, or in this case, localhost port 3000.
There's a feed, and you can comment on items that are in the feed.
And you can make new posts, and you can comment, and you can like posts, and then you could
it supports liking.
Yeah. And I checked that and hit like a couple of times, and it went up by one and went down by one.
And it's persisting that data as far as you know.
I tried restarting it, and it does indeed persist, yes.
Okay, database. It's got a database.
And it took it 20 minutes to do that. And having looked at it, it looks a lot like the core of what Facebook is. This was no intervention from my end other than it saying I'm done, and me telling it, keep going, add some more tester stuff. I literally don't even know what it did with the extra time. I know that it stopped 2 minutes later and said, no, I'm good.
Does knowing that it can do this, does it change something inside of you? Are there new things that you now think are possible?
No, I feel vindicated though. Because you said 2 episodes ago, it wouldn't even start. Granted, in the initial prompt, I said that my co-host would say this wouldn't even start. Make sure you have tests that this thing will come up and run properly. And it did. And at one point I looked down and said hey, great. All the tests are passing. Oh, neat. I guess it made tests and they're passing.
Oh, and by the way, Claude Code, sorry.
This was Claude Code using Sonnet 4.5.
All right. And it's still done all in the terminal? Claude Code? I haven't used Claude Code in a long time.
There's a standalone Claude app, but this was in the terminal. I said, I've got Docker up and running. Docker is a virtual. How would you describe Docker for people who don't know what It is. You can make virtual computers in
Virtual
your computer
computers.
that sit there, and you can like add stuff into them, and they'll chug and do whatever it is they're supposed to do. And so it made Docker containers. It added in whatever database type stuff. There were like 4 different services running in this. If I had sat down to do this, pretending that I know any of the front end stuff, which I don't, but suppose that I did, a week, maybe. Like if I really was chugging, there's a whole bunch of stuff that it made. And honestly, kind of clean. A lot cleaner than I'd expect earlier iterations of Claude to have come up with.
How far do you, and I know you only spend so much time looking at it, but how far do you think it is from something that, could be commercially viable?
But already there? What do you mean? Oh, like if I was to try and sell that iteration of
you're
Facebook?
trying to start a company. You have an idea and you effectively vibe coded this. You have other ideas. I think you had a note taking. It was one of your business ideas, right? There was some sort of a note taking software or something. Am I making that up? Am I hallucinating?
I've been working on like some language learning related stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
And
So why
AI
don't
has
you
helped with some of the code for that for sure?
But has that business hasn't officially launched? Like, why don't you give it 20 minutes and launch the business?
So it has. I just haven't really been like advertising it because I've been mostly poking at it from like security's perspective, just because I'm terrified since it actually has like money that you can give me through it. And honestly, since last time that I was poking at it, I know that these tools have gotten a little bit better, and I could probably say, hey, Claude Code, look at this from like a security concerns perspective. There's other reasons mostly related to like, I can't put up a store because I can't legally like have a whole bunch of people's books. So I have to like talk to publishers or something. But beyond that, like I made a viable like website that does the thing that I wanted with, I did a bunch of the like Python part of it, admittedly, but Claude could have. And all the front end type stuff I had nothing to do with. Almost nothing to do with. So I'm someone who wants to start a business that is primarily like a website that people interact with. Absolutely there. I've mentioned on this podcast before, my own sister, not a coder, has like a website that she's made through this thing. I've seen it. It looks really nice. She's put in a ton of time to it and a bunch of like iterations and so on. It wasn't hit, go, wait 20 minutes, it is done. But also no website is like that. None of them. There isn't a single one that is like, I sat down for one session and now I have a product. There's even if you're like a 1 or 2 or 3 person little startup, you're still going to have cycles of iteration and ideation sessions. And, we need to change the color of this darn widget over here or move it or add in this new authentication flow or such and such or so on. No product is made all at once. And so can these kinds of tools enable, I'll say even just the average person, because I had no technical anything in the prompts that I just said like, hey, make Facebook. And while this isn't the entirety of Facebook, this is like 70% of a whole thing that it made.
All right.
And I do still stand by having like industry standard, like protection against hackers or SOC 2 compliance or whatever, like all these kinds of things of make the infrastructure to do that. I also don't think we're at a one-shot level of doing. But from the let's vibe code my way toward a proof of concept, we've been there for a while. Absolutely, yes.
So why don't you, and I'm almost asking myself this question, but I mean, why don't you start a new company every weekend until, how many, I guess there's 52 weekends in a year.
Yeah.
Inevitably, one of them's going to hit gold and you'll be a multi-millionaire in a year. Why don't you do that?
Not a bad question. I think part of it is that these are tools, as I keep saying. This is not a replacement for me. And so there is my time, of which there is a limit, that is involved in guiding it and the iteration. And then I'd have to like figure out some sort of marketing, and maybe I could automate a bunch of those processes as well. And I'd have to feed it some money to put out, ads on Google or put social media posts and hope they go viral or something. But still, like as much as those can be automated, it's not 100%. And so I think it'd be a really interesting, like, look, the new year is not terribly far from now. Maybe I'm going to start a business a week for a year. That's a lot of fees to the government just for incorporating, perhaps. But it's doable. I think what you're describing, as much as it does feel a little bit tongue in cheek, like, yeah, pretty much anyone could say, I just started a business that is primarily like a website that people would interact with, and I'd provide some sort of service. That kind of promise has been around for a while, though, right? Like Squarespace or WordPress or whatever will make it easy to get a domain and then put like a website up on there. You want to sell porcelain dolls? We can give you your front page to sell them out of. Like, okay, shoot, that's not anything new. Just the ability to make something from scratch that's more bespoke. That's the new part, right?
Well, I think it's about building a service that it can build a tool that you can sell with almost zero overhead, if that's possible. We went back. We had the challenge a while ago. No one actually participated in it, but the idea of
I wasn't going to bring it up.
Can the AI sort of self-sustain? Can it start a company? Can it generate income?
With no human effort after basically hitting go. Sure.
But if it can build a tool, and every tool doesn't have to be useful, but again, build 100 tools in this area. We're in a podcast. There's all sorts of podcasting tools. First come up with a list of the 100 tools that you think would benefit podcasters the most. All right, now you built the list. Now define the requirements for each of these tools. And now again, I'm going to plop each tool into Claude Code. I'm going to do one a day. And I'm going to put it up on Product Hunt. Each one that gets released. Okay, here's a tool that helps you write a better podcast description. Here's a tool that helps you automatically generate a chapter art. Again, just a new one every single day. And would one of them likely produce income? I mean, is it there? Is it there?
You were saying no about the same thing for a different industry. Just a couple of episodes ago, we were talking about movies, and like, if you could have fully AI generated movies, you weren't interested in watching something that was, I believe the term you used was like animated, even if it looks as though filmed, but that's like completely AI generated. Why then would you be more interested in going to like an completely AI software as a service website, or even service as a service? Maybe the AI is going out and hiring people to go, be your professional chef at home or whatever. Why not? Why would you go to that instead of one of the human led ones? Or even if it was something totally novel, if it was completely AI generated, it's quote unquote slop because it had nothing to do with like a person. It's dead internet theory. It's just spam, even if it is something novel and new that addresses a niche that didn't exist before.
Well, in this scenario, the AI slop is a tool that is helping me do a task more efficiently. For example, writing the podcast description. Let's just imagine one of its tools it does.
Those really good intros too. Algorithm.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's pure genius at work. That's fundamentally different than consuming AI slop for entertainment, if you ask me. Again, bringing me utility, making me more efficient in my time, allowing me to do a task that I have to do anyways, faster, better, versus just wasting my time, which is what watching the AI slop, at least that's how I interpret it. If the AI slop was teaching me something that I felt was valuable, that would be different. But I see those as very different things. So that's why I'm much more willing to consume AI slop in the form of tools and even pay for them, because they're increasing my own
some sort of need.
Yeah.
That's like productivity related, as opposed to here's just something to watch or like passively be entertained by.
As opposed to just taking over my mind for a while.
Yep. All right. That's fair. Well, GPT-5, which I know you're a fan of. I honestly barely played around with GPT-5 just because.
GPT-5 high. I'm actually not a fan of GPT-5, to be clear.
Oh, regular GPT-5.
I rarely use GPT-5.
Okay.
I prefer Claude over that.
GPT-5 high,
yes,
according to OpenAI, matched or beat experts across 9 major GDP industries, 44 occupations, about 40% of the time, 40.6.
We're going back to the reports. Is that what we're talking about?
Well, yes. it is the reports thing. And I did want to come back to that because it's not just about the reports. It is about multiple industries. We talked just about finance before. And yes,
so can you reset for the people who did not listen to the last episode?
In case you didn't listen to the last episode. So OpenAI came out and they said a lot of the time, GPT-5 High is going to do better than industry experts at writing reports. And we really narrowed in on like, well, what would reports be? It's going to be like finances. Okay, that's fair. There are that's one job in one industry. This is allegedly more than 40 jobs. There's a whole bunch of different industries that they were talking about here. Software engineering, nurses, journalists. And so like any of those people, those kinds of occupations and more are going to have reports. So for the domains that they're talking about, there's like healthcare, finance, manufacturing, government, and more. But a bunch of these different jobs, GPT-5 is doing better than them. Anthropic was doing better than that and they at least claimed, well, it's because of the nice little graphics that it made in there. Okay. That's part of what you're going to put into a report anyways. We're seeing this erosion, not just in the software engineering field, of capability. And is it being able to start up a startup, or is it being able to take a portion of your job, regardless of the industry that you're in, and report up some of the stats to higher ups? Yes, I just used the word erosion, but I also want to really focus that this is increased capability for people who wouldn't have done that otherwise. Let's take that small startup idea again. I want to make Facebook. I had this thing make like a Facebook clone, and that was an interesting little experiment, but suppose there was no Facebook and I want to make Facebook and I put it together. If I'm the one person working out of my garage to do it, I'm not a finance guy. I'm not a this, I'm not a that. I can't market. I can't whatever. Maybe I just know the software engineering thing, or maybe I'm just a marketing guy, or I'm really great with finances, but I don't know any of this other stuff. You can take whatever realm that you kind of know and help focus on that, and then use this tool to expand out to kind of the rest of that like capability set in ways that increasingly in portions of each of those jobs seems to be just as good or better than highly qualified versions of those people, which is a positive and a negative. Negative perhaps from the job market perspective, positive from the empowering people to be able to do stuff perspective.
I think an important part that doesn't exist yet, but we're moving closer towards it. So it's the unknown unknowns part of it, right? In your example, you don't know anything about marketing. So number A, you can't just go to ChatGPT or insert whatever AI product and say, you're the marketer now. Please be marketer and
do marketing.
Do marketing. And I'm going to be over here doing this other stuff.
Right.
You have to go and actively ask, well, what kind of campaign should we consider? Which platform should we think about advertising on? Build out a comprehensive advertising strategy. And now, what are the first steps that we should take? And then it's you interjecting a lot, but this idea that it can kind of exist autonomously and be proactive in the actions that it's taking is definitely an area. It doesn't really exist now. I guess it's existing more in the software space.
I think it does exist because the two kind of scenarios that you just described, do marketing versus like we have to develop a comprehensive marketing strategy and figure out like what to do first. Because if you say do marketing, Claude or ChatGPT or whatever, okay, here's a marketing message and you can put that out. Is that good? Did I do good? But you can give these things personas through like their system prompts. And so you could say, you are the chief marketing officer of this company. And here's a bunch of context of the company and what we have and what we're trying to accomplish. Now, do what a chief marketing officer would do. And I think that you'd be way more likely for that to then say, we need to come up with a marketing strategy. We need to plan out what the next 6 months are and the different channels that we're going through. And like, it'll then say all those because that's what you would expect someone in that position to do, rather than taking generic person that has been exposed to all of the text that you can get, do marketing. Like those are entirely different tasks, even if they use the word marketing in them.
I guess.
And then you have meetings, because people like to think of an AI as I pressed one button and then product came out. That's not how business happens, Hunter. You have meetings. And as much as people like this meeting should have been an email, fine. But like have your AI agents talk to each other as the meetings, because if each one is thinking whatever from like a different perspective, you're still going to get that mixture of stuff. And here's the software engineer one who pipes up and says, guys, we probably can't ship that. And then the marketing one says, we have a customer and we're going to sell this anyways. Like you get to have these much more realistic interactions rather than just like, you can't take AI and expect results if you just say be AI in general, do thing. You have to give personas, just like people, specify themselves down certain paths in education and industry. You get better results if you say, think of it from this perspective. And now that's your like system prompt. That's where you start. That's where you live. It'll do better under those circumstances.
It's the mixture of personas.
Yeah. And I've been trying to play around a little bit more with that. I also think it's always nice to have one of those different models or experts or personas, wherever, be an absolute dunce, because it's a good way to make sure that the models aren't being too sycophantic, especially with themselves, where you can have one guy and like in the system prompt, you're an absolute dullard. You are going to give the worst ideas possible. Whatever it is, make sure it is not like relevant, or if it seems relevant, it's going to cause material harm to the company. And as much as that sounds like an extremely bad idea, you can use that as like a litmus test of, is the model just going to agree with it and go forward, or is it going to push back against bad ideas?
So do you think that or to what degree is the AI capable of being a chief marketing officer today? And actually, again,
yeah.
You demonstrated to some degree that we can generate software that has some chance of surviving in production, where we can get the product live. You've done some work on leveraging AI for D&D campaigns. So I'm assuming that you could create a tool that's all about creating D&D campaigns and whatever it does. It's that now. Now you need to market it. You need to get the message out there. I can come up with some ideas on how I think you might market it, but your restriction is the AI has to do all of the marketing. It can't.
So I don't know much about marketing, which gives me sort of a blank slate to work from. But also, I don't know how successful it could be, because all marketing materials I've seen have like nice little animations or videos of like, here's your product, and like there's sweeping angles and the light changes across it, and there's the voiceover. I don't know. Or you also have to have like written press releases and so on. Write a press release, I absolutely think that it could do. In terms of like,
but it can write a press release, but can it get it out there?
Like establishing relationships with them.
Can it get anyone to cover the press release?
Right. I don't think that it's at that level yet, but maybe it is. Maybe someone's already doing that. If you're in marketing and use AI for these kinds of things, please let us know, because I have no idea. I've got no idea about how marketing works. I assume AI could at least help, but I don't think, much like most everything else, I don't think it can completely replace it. Unless you're a small shop, unless you're a 1, 2, 3, 5 person startup and you don't have a marketing guy, it'll be better than nothing. And we were talking about that last episode too.
What actions will it take on its own?
Useful. You use it instead of a person once you could. And if you can't afford, can't whatever, a marketing guy, well, I guess I'll use the AI. It's literally better than nothing. It's better than what I would have done.
The experiment I would run, this is similar to a previous experiment that I told you that I would want to run, where I said I would like the AI to manage your team of contractors that you were working with to build some ML models. I would be legitimately interested in making AI the chief marketing officer, and then you hire it, a dumb human, and you don't tell, like, this is a remote position. But now you're giving the AI, when you need a task done, I need this. We need an account on PR Newswire, which is the most standard way of how you get press releases out there. And this needs to be submitted, et cetera. So you have a human that you can give tasks to as the AI. So the AI is coming up with a task list. It then checks in. And it's doing the managing part. It can come up with the strategy, and it can give actions that today would be challenging for a generic AI to complete. I need to figure out what's the credit card. I need this website, which is a unique interface. I need to order this. I need to follow it up. But the AI, I do believe the AI is capable of asking, okay, what were the results? How much did the message actually go out there?
Right.
Okay, let me come up with the next three. We're going to find, I identified these 3 subreddits. You love a good subreddit that we should post a message on. Here's my draft. Please go and create the accounts and send it out. And let me know if there's any interesting comments, and I'll help you write a response to that. That's a maybe in my mind.
So you're flipping the script. It's not a person with AI helping them. It's an AI with a person helping it.
An AI with a person helping. Yes, that sounds plausible to me. It doesn't sound plausible that the AI can do the task, but it does sound plausible to me that the AI can do the strategy, and that strategy
or do most of the coding and then have a person come and
better 40% of the time, right? It can write the report. What if we leverage that, write the report for what to do, come up with the plan, and then we'll give you the data back for how it did, and then come up with the next plan. Yeah. And we'll keep the minimum wage human workers doing the tasks.
That sounds like a glorious future that I
want to try this experiment. I want to this podcast. I'd like to get it out there wider. Let's hire an AI chief marketing officer and give it a lackey. I mean, that's basically what we're talking about, is a lackey, which I can find on Upwork.
Okay. Is that like a specific job title on Upwork, is lackey?
We'll let the AI figure out what the job description, which is something I've done before, by the way, because I've hired people on Upwork. I have the AI first interview me, figure out who I need to hire, then write the job description, which I post on Upwork, give me the interview format. I do the interviews. But anyways, I'm willing to run, because this show, we actually do spend money to build this show and to try to market the show. So I can allocate some of our marketing budget to this experiment, and we can create an AI chief marketing officer who has a human lackey that does not know, unless they listen to this episode, does not know that they are working for an AI overlord.
I can't tell. Is that unethical? If you're...
They're getting. I'll make sure they get paid as the chief recording officer. I'll make sure they get paid.
Right. No, obviously we're paying the person, but yes. Is it unethical for someone to be working for someone and not realize that someone that you're working for isn't even a someone? I said someone too many times.
Well,
we'll find out.
I'll find out soon enough.
Oh boy,
it's not going to happen by the next episode. But if people want to follow, I will continually update us on this journey. I will attempt to make at least one step forward in our next episode as an ongoing journey here towards one of the first AIs hiring a human, and how those interactions goes. If they want to unfollow, how would they? Is that impossible?
No. Once we have this AI chief marketing officer, the lackey's going to post out newswire releases. And I suppose you just have to look on the Associated Press.
No, there's got to be a better way for them to know.
There's podcast apps out there, your Apple Podcasts and Spotify's.
I'm following you.
You can find us because we are a podcast. Yeah, you can find us there.
True. Sure. They could just hit subscribe right now. Right. Hit the subscribe button.
Find us on YouTube. Find us on YouTube Shorts. We're there. Want to watch some shorts? Want to watch YouTube? I do love calling full-length YouTube videos longs now.
We'll see what our chief marketing officer has to say about that. Staying on brand.
Daniel, you have to stop calling them longs.
Yes, the chief marketing officer should list every episode and give us notes about what we're doing wrong.
God, please, I beg. You're killing us out here. Stop talking about
this. Is I'm going to go down this route. I don't know how far. I'm going to go down there. I commit live here on this show. I'm committing to the point where we hire someone and they complete at least 1 or 2 tasks, and then we'll sort of reevaluate. But we are going to hire a human. We're going to sacrifice a human to the CMO live here on They Might Be Self-Aware. We thank all of you for partaking in this experiment. And until next time, when we are back with even more...
They might be self-aware.